make a series and an ultimate guide for beginners. Hi guys, Sean here from Momentum. I've got myself a coffee here because I want to make a big series that will benefit you for the long term. Now hopefully you can hear me really well because I'm using my headphones. With the best production, I unfortunately lost my lapel mic, but I am still invested to do this for you guys, and I'm excited to do this for you as well. And this is going to be for anyone who wants to lose weight, get fitter, lose fat, build muscle. All these things will definitely help you out because it also helped me. So today's one, we're going to talk about part 1, which is about training. And I think this is the most important one, obviously, when it comes to weight loss and health. If you're looking to build muscle, this is also very important. And there are so many things out there that can be so intimidating and confusing. What do I do? Do I do powerlifting? Do I do a bro slip? Do I do bodybuilding? Do I do calisthenics? There are so many things to do. Now, I've developed a bit of a thing called the Momentum method. This is how I teach everything towards all my clients and also all the patients that come through when it comes to injuries as well, because there are priorities that you need to put in. Now, I'll go through a little bit more about my methodology later on, but I hope you also know that we provide all this information for absolutely free. So the least thing you can do for me, or if you want to help me out, is share this with a friend, share this with a family member, or share this with people across your socials who might have this goal to get a little bit fitter and stronger. So without any more delay, I'm going to go through the very first part when it comes to becoming the healthiest version of yourself, especially if you're a beginner, and this is going to be about training. So when it comes to fat loss and weight loss and muscle gain and all these kind of things, there are so many things that you can do. But first of all, here's the first thing I tell people. Strength training is priority. And now listen to me, even if you are not trying to be the strongest person possible, you should be trying to get this going. You should be trying to get a little bit stronger, and that's within context. Yes, so if you're trying to get into a fat loss mode, or you're trying to lose fat or change your body comp, you should be getting stronger, and this is because of the first reason, progressive overload. Now, if you don't know what progressive overload, it goes into a methodology and also a story first. So stay a while and I'm going to tell you a story. There was a boy called Milo from Kritos. I got that wrong. It was Milo from Creton. It was somewhere in Greece. I'm doing pretty okay to remember that. So Milo from Creton was a kid who carried his cow, essentially, or his calf, at a young age. So he was, say, 10 years old, carrying this calf all the way up the mountain. Now, as time went by, the calf and him grew together. So they got heavier and he got stronger. Eventually, he was lifting this full calf into a cow or bull as he got a little bit older and stronger. Now, if we were to give him that full-grown bull when he was younger, it wouldn't have worked because he wouldn't be strong enough. The journey itself was him growing stronger as the bull also got heavier. And this is what we call progressive overload. It's like slowly adding on a little bit of another extra plate onto your barbell bench press over time. The actual change is what happens, not the instantaneous lift that actually makes it go. So take that into consideration because that's the methodology that we're basing everything on, progressive overload. So when it comes to training, this is the problem that I see. A lot of people are maxing out and training as hard as possible for the short term. This is not what we want to do. The reason why is because if you're going to be training really hard for one workout, this does not define your progress. It's actually how long you work out for in the long term. And we'd like to change the mentality when it comes to a lot of people. You want to be able to think of this as a lifelong journey. You don't want to be thinking about this as a 1-week journey, a 5-week journey, or hell, even a 12-week challenge or body change. This is all about lifelong lessons. So if you're here to train really, really hard for one day, well, great. How are you going to back that up 2 days later when you're feeling all these DOMs? We need to make sure that we know how to help you for the long term. And this is where that progressive overload factor comes into consideration. We now start to plan ahead for this. And what I mean by that is, because we're progressively overloading, we need to start at something that's not too challenging, but just nice enough for you to learn the technique. And this goes into my second point. You need to invest in actually learning how to lift for long periods of time. And this is when you go into those big compound-based movements, which is going to be point number 3. You have to learn how to lift. And I want you to prioritize, once again, point number 3 is compounds. And this could be the squat, the bench, the deadlift, and we need to make sure we're proficient in these movements. You could even go to things like lunges, deadlifts, barbell hip thrusts, because if you can't do those properly at a lighter weight, what's going to happen when we add on more weight from week to week? You're actually going to be amplifying the problem that you never addressed, your technique, or cause an injury. So make sure you invest in time when it comes to technique. Now, if you need help when it comes to squats, bench, deadlifts, lunges, or any of those movements like pull-ups as well, feel free to check me out on Instagram, where I'll post a lot of tips and tricks on that, and I'll put my tag up here. But not only that, don't be afraid to check out my YouTube channel. We have 2 of those videos posted there for you to learn with small tips and tricks to make sure you remember what you need to do. But the number 1 way to work on your technique is to always get constant feedback. Whatever you might think that you're doing right, there's always a way to do it a little bit better. And last but not least, this is probably the most important thing. You need to work on your compounds and prioritize them. So like I said in point number 2, you want to squat, you want to bench, you want to deadlift, you want to do some pull-ups. Now this is also going to work in context. If you can't do a bench press, you probably need to replace it with something else that can help you. And this could be a dumbbell bench press, this could be a push-up, this could be even shoulder press. You need to work something that's going to be able to grow in long term. And what I mean by this is you can't prioritize things like front raises to try and get as heavy as possible. And what I mean by that is, well, let's just say I had a coach who wanted me to get as strong as I could with a 5x5 on a front raise. But what's the actual limit on that? I was trying to swing 20 kilo dumbbells and going all the way up and down. There was no absolute benefit to that. And if anything, I was going to hit myself in the face or in the hip. So let's prioritize something where technique can be sustained and done for a longer period of time. From there, we want to make sure that your compounds can also be looked at as a skill. Now, the reason why I say prioritize these things as skills is because you can get better when you use that as a mentality, because there's always a 1% that you can increase more and more and more. Now, don't get me wrong, there are certain movements where you don't have to think of it as a skill as much, and I call it going full caveman mode, but there are so many exercises where you actually need to focus on it and practice on it. Now, why am I saying all this? I solely believe that prioritizing your compounds, working on progressive overload, and also working on technique are so many more smarter techniques on the way to train. Because if it can be measured, it can also be managed. And this is what I think a lot of people are lacking. Don't get me wrong, if you prefer circuit-based training and HIIT style training, that is absolutely fine. I think there is a time and place for that for everyone. But if you're only doing HIIT-based training, this is where the problem occurs. You aren't able to work on symmetry, you aren't able to work on injuries, and you aren't able to work on those isolation-based movements that can help you through the whole way through. You're not working on isolation-based movements that could prevent you from injuries. So this is going to be the example at the end. If I were to be a complete beginner, I would first do this. I would have one day primarily to focus on my squat, and this would be a barbell-based squat, and then focus on more exercises afterwards. And then focus on more exercises afterwards to help use the quads as well. This could be a lunge, or even saying that it could be a leg press. From there, I would have another exercise workout, and I'll prioritize something like a push-based movement. This could be a bench press, or for those who can't quite bench press just yet, a push-up. That's going to be my main compound, and then after that I'm going to use something a little bit easier and higher reps so I can build up that strength. This could be a dumbbell fly, this could be an incline fly, incline press, dumbbell press, it could be machine chest press, or even incline push-ups. Anything that helps you build that muscle up inside that big compound-based movement and hopefully get you some progressive overload. Now, I would also do 2 other days, and the same concept would apply, a deadlift and also some sort of pull-up or chin-up as well. The reason why is because now we focus on every big exercise and every single big movement that focuses on even bigger muscles. That's right. So the push-up helped you up with the triceps and also your chest muscles, and also to a certain extent your shoulders. The squat worked on your quads, and also the deadlift works a lot of muscles, but primarily in the posterior chain. The pull-ups and the pull-based exercises will help with the lats and rhomboids, and there we are. We've covered every single muscle that needs to be done, and then we start putting some smaller based exercises to help build some symmetry and help you with preventing injuries. Not only that, it also still helps you with the main movement. Hopefully this was some sort of assistance towards you. If you need more help, don't be afraid to email me or even DM me on Instagram. And also, we also put a Instagram live every single Friday. So if you want to come and join us and ask some questions, feel free to do that, and I'm happy to do that for you. Thank you for your time. If you could, comment, like, share, and subscribe. At the point of me making this video, I think I'm on about 82 subscribers, which is great, and I'd like to see where this can get us. Thank you so much, guys. I hope this helped, and stay tuned for the next episode where we focus on mindset.